Hello there, travellers. My name is Luca, this is the Castle of Reverie, and around here we talk about books and self-care and self-discovery. And today I would like to take a little bit of a detour and talk to you about media, specifically my favourite pieces of media. Now, in today's video, the types of media that I will be talking about and telling you my favourites in are movies, books, music, and YouTube channels. So how this is gonna work is that in each of these 4 categories, I will tell you what my favorite pieces are, like the favorite 2 or 3, reasons why they haven't moved higher, reasons why they might be the top 1, and generally just reasons why this made the list and why not something else. So let's just jump right into category 1, movies. Number 3 on this list is a Disney movie. It's The Treasure Planet. Let me get it. I have the German version because that's where I live, but The Treasure Planet is a Disney movie. It is like from 2000 something. This movie is on this list because, well, I found it through music. The song, the gym theme song, I'm Still Here, at some point showed up on one of my Spotify like mixed playlists. So I listened to it and I was like, goodness, I've never heard this, but this is gorgeous. And I clicked on it to see, like, look at the album. The album happens to be empty. It is the only song that has like, it's basically the only song in the movie. So I watched the movie and I got the movie on DVD and it's gorgeous. The reason why this is on here is because it has personal significance to me, because the song and the movie in itself were part of me figuring out that I am not a cis woman. You know, I'm non-binary, so it will always, I think, hold a personal significance to me, and you're gonna realize that a lot of these pieces of media that are on this list have a personal significance to me. They aren't just, oh my god, this is gorgeous, but they are like, oh my god, this is gorgeous, and it affected me personally in some sort of way. Next one. The second one on the list of movies is the movie anime adaptation to Lonely Castle in the Mirror. So I read Lonely Castle in the Mirror last year because I wanted to read the favorite books of Alison Page's, and I really enjoyed it. And I'm part of the Discord Patreon thing from her, and at some point someone was like, oh my god, have you seen it? So I immediately went out and bought it. Fun fact, this Blu-ray is the reason why I have a DVD and Blu-ray player that is region free now, because sadly it is not available in the region that I live in. So I had to get additional hardware to actually watch it, and I think since I've had this, I've watched the movie like 5 times, and I've only had this Blu-ray player for like 2 months. So it is gorgeous. To me, it's like on the same level as the book. There were some details missing that I personally missed, but like for the same thing as the book, it is gorgeous. I like the character growth, and I like that topic of not being capable of going to school because, you know, you might be bullied or there's other stuff going on. I like it. I like the themes that are discussed. Well, I don't enjoy the things that are discussed. Some of them are kind of icky, but I like the way they are discussed. I think it's really great. This made it on this list because it's amazing art and I love it, and it's, yeah. Next. And obviously, number 1 is my all-time favorite movie, the one that if you were to ask me, if you were to come up and ask me, hey, what's your favorite movie? This is the one that I would say. This is the one you're hearing from me. I can't tell you why, and I can't tell you what it's about, because to me, The Breakfast Club, the way I've seen it, it's just, you have a bunch of teenagers, and they're in a school for like 8 hours on a Saturday because they are all in detention for various things, and they get to know each other, but like afterwards everything is also kind of the same, but they also kind of befriend each other, and I like it because I don't know, it speaks to me in a weird way, and that's why it's on the top, because this is the one that I will watch when I feel down. This is the movie that I put on in the background if I want to clean and still get the serotonin stimming stuff, but like, you know, want it in the background. You know, if I want to be happy while doing chores, this is the movie that goes on. And yeah, I think that's enough of a reason to pick it as my favorite. Category number 2, books. Now, in this category, on spot 3, we have a stand-in. So, in 2 cases, I picked a stand-in, which is a representative for a larger group of items that are similar, in my opinion. So, the stand-in for the books is Self-Care for Autistic People by Dr. Megan Ananeff, because this is just, it is one of the self-care psychology books that helped me personally to live a better life with the brain that I have, and to somehow make sure I don't just survive, but like I get closer to the thriving part that I'd like to have most of my days be at. But realistically speaking, at the moment they are not. And so this is just a stand-in for all of those books that I have already read, but also all of those books that are like this that I have not already read, but there are some that are currently on my TBR shelf that I know will most likely fall in this category, so I wanted to keep a space for them. Number 2 on this list, again, is Lonely Castle in the Mirror. Because I didn't know if I would love it, and because, you know, I could get it on ebook, I read it on ebook. I do not have a digital copy available. This one is on here, again, for the same reasons as it is on the movie list. It is incredible. I think the themes that are discussed are really important, and the book does a great job at kind of discussing these themes. And I just really, really like the concept of the world building, how the castle in the mirror comes to be, and how to get there and everything. I really like it. 10 out of 10 would recommend. And the last one is the one that I've coined my favorite book of all time for like 8 years at this point, I think. It is mainly here for a mix of nostalgia and just a feeling of safety, because The City of Dreaming books. I read this first when I was like, as I said, like 12 years old roughly, I think. I don't really remember. And I fell in love with it. To this day, this is the book that I go to, like that is the book that I will compare other fantasy books to when it comes to world building. It caused some issues because this is the standard quality that I am used to, and I have definitely found stuff that feels like it, but it is really, really easy to also make a fantasy world where it just doesn't feel as thought out, because it's very obvious that the person who wrote this book knows exactly what is going on, because like they have written like 12 more books in this world. The world is fleshed out. These books do not all share the same characters, but the characters are cross-referenced. I love it. It is gorgeous. It'll probably stay in my heart forever. I am planning on rereading it soon. Category number 3 is music, specifically songs. Now, this does not include musicals because I've only seen one musical live on stage, and if I ever make this sort of video again, if these things happen to change, which I doubt they will, but they might, then probably musicals are gonna be a category on this list. The music I'm talking about now does not include my musical favorites, because this list, at least number 3, would possibly look different if I took Six and Hamilton into account. And Finding Neverland and Beetlejuice the musical. Okay, so let's get into it. Number 3, Steve's Going to London by AJR. Now, again, this is a stand-in. This is a stand-in for all of the other songs that make me stim, that make me happy, that make me feel alive, and that make me feel less depressed and less icky. Other songs in this category that could have just as well been put onto this pedestal are Electra Heart, Bummerina, Old Fashioned by Panic at the Disco, I Can't Decide by Scissor Sisters, Grace Kelly by Mika, Mr. Blue Sky by Electric Light Orchestra, 90s Kids by Jax, or Every Time We Touch by Cascada. As I said, all of these songs have in common that I can dance to it, I can sing along to them, I can stim, I can just be happy and emotionally and sensory regulate if I'm understimulated. They are gorgeous, I love them for that. Number 2, The Middle by Jimmy Eat World. Now, this is kind of in the middle between this and the top category. This is still a feel-good song for me, and I still stim to it, but it is a bit more hard-hitting for when these other songs, the more very obviously happy ones, don't work anymore. And that is why it's on here, because sometimes I need it. Partially it might be on here to remind myself that these things exist, and I can try to see if they're helping me if I'm going through a crisis. And number 1. There's 2 songs here. Technically there's 1. There is 1 song that I picked, and then sitting down and thinking about why I picked that and describing why I picked that, I thought of a second song. Now, the first song I picked is Nobody Can Save Me by Linkin Park. So this song kind of holds a core memory for me. When I created that memory, I was 15 and I was sitting in the bus going to France, specifically Brittany, for a student exchange hosted by my school for 2 weeks. That following trip led me to fall in love with this region of France, and I to this day still want to move there. I am not sure if it's ever going to happen. I'm not sure if it's gonna be possible, but I want to. And at the time, I was going through a depressive episode, which was sadly normal for me at that age. And I have to admit that the song is kind of part of the reason why I'm still alive. And I don't think I will never not give it credit for that, ever. The other song that can be credited for that is Jet Black Heart by 5 Seconds of Summer. This song I found through a YouTuber who literally has parts of that song tattooed on their body. And I listened to it and I kind of had an epiphany, if that makes sense. I was listening to that song and it was the first moment in my entire life where my brain was like, oh yeah, by the way, you actually do love yourself. There is something that you're willing to fight for. There is something that makes you want to survive. And I am very glad that that happened, because now it's 4 years later and I'm still alive, but I've also gone to university. I've done nearly 2/3 of my university degree. I have just a bit over a year left until I graduate with a bachelor's degree. And this stuff was 4 years ago, as I said, and in the last 2 years after finding the song, I moved out to go to university, and I stopped self-harming, and I started to feel like I could actually have stability and self-love in my life. And I'm very grateful for that. Now on to lighter topics, I think. Category number 4, YouTube videos. Number 2 in this category, because in this category there's only 2 things, is a stand-in video. As a stand-in video, in this case, I picked New year, cozy reset, work-life balance. I mentioned Alison Page's earlier in this video, and this is one of her videos. It is a stand-in for everything that she has created. Her videos just give me a comfort, and she is one of the people who reminds me that everyone is on their own timelines. I am just learning that for myself, and I have to keep reminding myself that it is perfectly okay if I don't achieve certain things by the timelines that other people set, because my life is most likely very different, and my brain is different, and everyone's brains is different. And some people have like very different priorities to me, you know. Some people probably want to like get married and settle down and have kids as soon as possible, while others are like, nah, I'm gonna get a bachelor's degree and a master's degree and a PhD, and then I think I'm gonna become a professor. And like, I want to do neither of those things, and that is fine. It's a reminder that it's okay to be who I am as a person, and that like people will like me. I will find my people at some point. And the favorite one in this category is again one that had an impact on me. It is called Identity, a trans coming out story, and it's the coming out video of YouTuber Abigail Thorne. The channel is PhilosophyTube, for those of you who don't know. And in the video, she basically explains to you, or tries to make you feel what it is like to be a trans person. And as I mentioned earlier, when it came to The Treasure Planet, that movie had a big impact on me coming out to myself and figuring out that I'm not cis. And this YouTube video had an even bigger impact, because I realized that the metaphors and everything she talks about in this video, where it's kind of like wearing a mask, where you are not really the person that everyone perceives you as. And it's just a performance. It's a person who isn't actually there, who doesn't actually exist. And I related to that. I felt like that was my entire life, and it, led me to reflect a bit more on those things. And I figured out that I am non-binary. And to this day, when I watch the video, I cry. I recently rewatched it because I wanted to share it with my partner, and I shared it with my partner because I was like, hey, here, this really affected me. And then I went on to watch the video, and I was just sitting there crying for like parts of it. I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to like the video and make sure to subscribe down below so that you can find yourself back here, and also so that other people have it easier to find their way here, because the YouTube algorithm. And I hope you have a nice day, or rest of your day, or night, or whatever time it is for you. Have a nice journey. Bye.